Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 3 has now completed and is now streaming on Disney+. I'm going to talk about the entire season over here, including the series finale, which premiered last night. And if you have not seen it yet, there are going to be some spoilers in this video. You have been warned. In this season, the Batch are in a race against time to find Omega after she has been taken by the Empire for reasons unknown. And it seems to be tied into something that the Empire is working on in secret in a base that nobody knows the location of. And it has something to do with a project specifically ordered by the Emperor called Project Necromancer. The Batch have to find out what that is and hopefully save Omega from them and Dr. Hemlock, who seems to be very intent on having her for these experiments. This is built over the last 3 seasons. The first season I remember watching and I liked a lot of things in it, but I also felt it was very scattered and unfocused. There were a lot of those side plots going on with those gigs that were given, and I just wasn't very interested in that. That character also was just not very interesting. You know who I'm talking about. In season 2, there was a decline of that, and it was a little more focused, and tonally, it seemed to have also found its footing a bit more, which is something that I did appreciate. And I think that with season 3 out the gate, I can say that this is easily the most focused and most, well structured season of the entire lot. I think when it comes to the series ending, it does go out with a bang, and that way I did enjoy season 3 the most of the 3. Appropriately, it is also the darkest season of the 3 because the characters are facing dangers that they haven't really faced so far. I mean, season 2's ending, if that's any indication, they already lost Tech. There was already a massive death in that character, and when you have that happen, immediately the stakes have changed dramatically. And so, because he's not there, he was such a vital part of things. Obviously, they're facing difficulties that are going to be dealt with in different ways, but they also have a loss in terms of trying to find Omega as a result of that, because there's a big part of what Tech was really good at, which was making sure stuff like that could be done. And so there is this sense of desperation that is within the characters in this particular season that I thought was captured really, really well. And once again, what I think Dave Filoni and co have done with handling those particular stakes is incredibly effective. And the character work is very good as a result of that. All of these Clone Force 99 members, Hunter, Wrecker, Echo, Tech, I've loved all of them a lot more as the season have gone on, and I think by the end of it, I'm going to miss these characters, and I hope that someday we'll get to see more with them. But it has been a really good ride, and I think what D. Bradley Baker, an amazing voice actor who you really cannot give enough credit to, the stuff that he has done with the clones and with Clone Force 99 over the years from Clone Wars to now is genuinely amazing and extremely commendable. A huge round of applause is in fact due for him. And what he does in this season is also really good. I'm not leaving out Crosshair, don't worry. I think he is one of the best characters to come out of this entire series. The progression for him is remarkable. You have to remember, this is the character who started off with, hey, good soldiers follow orders, and staying with the Empire, and instead not, choosing to go with 99, and eventually he becomes an enemy for 99. And because he's such a good shooter, he's eventually trying to get them, and that's a big threat level that is suddenly established. And in season 2, you saw that suddenly doubted because he's seeing the Empire do things that he's not okay with. And it's not stuff that he has been built to know. And so when you get to this season, there is that shifted dynamic with him, and eventually reintegrating back into the Batch and getting to, once again know them, and the rifts that are being caused because of that. I think eventually what it leads to is a really great character, but it also creates a connection between him and Omega, which I thought was really, really good, and something that eventually builds between them that I found to be incredibly heartfelt. And Michelle Ang, once again, as Omega, I thought she was really, really good. I think, again, as far as characters go, this is the best with Omega of the 3 seasons. And there are decisions that the character makes this time which make all the sense. Sometimes there were decisions made in the first 2 seasons which, when you look at it, they make perfect sense, because you have to remember she's not really been outside. So things that may seem silly at first will, or that is a bad decision, she won't know that. She really hasn't been out there. It's the same thing as, talking about this a few weeks ago with Fallout. It's like Lucy hadn't been out there. Obviously, she's making decisions that, you might look at as a viewer and go, that's dumb. But go, why would she know that's dumb? Because she's never had to deal with this situation. Of course, it's going to be the easiest thing that you'll think is the silliest thing. Appropriately, this is a darker season, and so there's a lot of stuff going on with this science lab on Tantus, which is a planet no one can find, and it's really, really well done. And all of that Project Necromancer stuff is extremely intense, especially when you see how they're playing some of it out. Like, bounty hunters are kidnapping children from across the galaxy to bring them to this facility because they might have a high M count level, which could eventually lead to something that is kept under wraps over here. But if I had to take a guess, Necromancer doesn't necessarily mean much more than, just like bringing back from the dead. And with the Emperor foreseeing that project, the idea of what these clones can bring to it, and also with the use of the Force, there's a very logical theory that you could connect this to how that, results in the Rise of Skywalker, how Palpatine comes back. Which would make sense because a lot of things that you're probably going to see right now in Star Wars media are going to be things that connect to eventual plot points so that they all come and, makes a logical sense. That's not something that's new to Dave Filoni. I feel like the Clone Wars series did a lot of that too, where if you watched episode 2 and then you went to episode 3, Attack of the Clones to Revenge of the Sith, you were probably like, wait, hold on. So a lot of things happened very quickly there. It's like, nope, watch the series first. And then you go and watch the Clone Wars, and then you go, okay, now it makes sense. And then you see that whole, storyline as to how Anakin became Darth Vader play out. Bridging gaps, someone's got to do them, right? You get some characters along the way who have been established in Star Wars lore. Seeing them pop up was really cool. Ming-Na Wen as Fennec Shand appears for one episode, which was really awesome to see her. Episode after that is Asajj Ventress, which was pretty awesome. I did not expect to see this character again, especially not for a long time, but it was cool seeing her over here, and she was really good. And she has this dynamic eventually that builds with the batch, especially with Omega actually, that I found to be really affecting. And I liked her character. I thought it was nice to see her on a lighter side of things rather than, as we've seen her before. It's once again a very beautifully animated season with some really, really great action sequences. The lighting work that exists in this show is genuinely amazing. Kevin Kiner's score, once again, is booming. Wonderful stuff. Really, really great job over there. I mean, really, there weren't too many issues that I had with it. Even the series finale, which premiered last night, I think they did a really, really good job with that. I love the action in that. I like how they wrapped it up, how they eventually took down Hemlock and all of these different clones that he's been creating, these more dangerous ones. There's a huge murder spree these guys go on, which is pretty brutal. And I thought it was extremely, intense stuff. And I have to give credit to, bringing this show around in a really effective way, and in a way that the story was done very good justice, in my opinion. And I love the ending too. I loved seeing a grown-up Omega with an older Hunter now, and she's like, I'm gonna go fight in the rebellion, and she goes off, and it's this beautiful finale that I generally did kind of sweep me up in that moment, especially if you've been with these characters all these years. But this idea of eventually letting her go was really, really sweet, and I really, really liked that bit. Actually, the last few minutes really hit home. As for issues with season 3, I mean, I already mentioned there are some improvements when it comes to the structure and the focus when it comes to the storytelling. I didn't really have too many major issues with it. There's a couple of things, once again, with side plots and stuff going on, which I thought, could have been maybe shaved off a little bit, maybe. And, you could have maybe made it even more focused, perhaps. But that's okay. I didn't mind it as much as I did with the first two seasons, and I think overall, by the time I was done watching season 3, I did have a very good time with it, and I think it brought around the season overall in a really solid way. And so I do recommend checking it out, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. I'm gonna give Star Wars: The Bad Batch season 3 an A-. A solid conclusion. We've come a long way since season 1. I think I gave a very harsh one in that, like a B minus or something. I don't know why I did that, but the climb has been solid. So yeah, overall I have really come to appreciate this show now. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more videos very, very soon. And it is the start of the Star Wars month. There's going to be one more this week. The day is May 1st. On May 4th, there's going to be a Phantom Menace one for the 25th anniversary. Looking forward to doing that. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and may the Force be with you.